In this tutorial, we will cover how to input an event space rental into Jonas Chorum and then add that event space rental into our event space calendar available on Google Calendars. Once in Jonas Chorum, navigate to the left side of the screen and select Groups. Again, on the left side of the screen, navigate and click Add New Group. Begin to enter the details of your group into this Add Group screen. In this example, we will be running the dining space on June 3rd. For the group code, there are specific codes that we need to use for the meeting space. For the ACC Lounge, we will use AC followed by the 2-digit year. In this example, it's 2022. So the group code would start with AC 2022 hyphen. For the dining room, DR 22 hyphen. For the private dining room, PD 22 hyphen. In our examples, the group code and the group name will look much like this. Returning to the group page, we'll enter our group code as DR22-Spears. For the group name, we're going to enter a little bit more detail in the group name, and then in parentheses, we're going to call out the meeting space in which the event will be taking place. It is important to keep in mind that the group code and the group name will be important to the end user. So specifics in these areas are important, and consistency with the use of our group code remains important. In the next field for group block, it defaults to group block. We want to change that to catering only because this is just a meeting space. Now go ahead and enter the details that are required in this screen. For booking method, there's not a better option than individual calls. In the group comments, this is where it would be important to add some notes for the GSA. Miss Spears will arrive at 11 a.m. Coffee, tea, and water service by 11:45 a.m. Event starts at 12 p.m. ends at 4 p.m. You can add as much detail as you'd like in the group comments, paying special attention to anything that you could think would help the GSA provide quality service to our guest. Further down on the screen, you will enter the guest credit card information. A credit card is required to hold a group event. The guest can pay cash or check or have the balance forwarded to this credit card. I will not go over how to enter the credit card details during this tutorial, but it is required and will perform much like any other group block. Up at the top of the screen, save this information. You will notice, because the block type has been changed to catering only, that the room matrix and the rooming list are now blocked out. That's because this group will not allow any reservations towards it, and there's no rooms taken out of inventory. It is important to note that physical rented space cannot be reserved within Jonas Chorum. The purpose of this tutorial is to show how to get a group folio for an event space. The next step is to click Group Folio icon at the top of the screen. At this point, we need to charge meeting space charges. In the top portion of the third of the screen, click Post Charge. Under the Miscellaneous section, please click Meeting Room Charge. Over on the right side of this screen, we're going to enter the amount that the guest is being charged. For our dining room on June 3rd, the cost is $275. As a reference, we're going to enter the guest's last name. We're going to enter the meeting space she rented and the date. A month and day is fine here. Again, this is a point so that the GSA can see with clarity moving forward. Now click OK. You'll now see on the group folio that the meeting room charge and the associated 7% Indiana sales tax has been added. The guest now has an outstanding balance of $294.25. This balance is also available in green when it is owed to Ivy Court to the right of the screen here. If this number is red, it means that we've collected more money than we've posted charges for. At this point, we would like to go ahead and post onto the folio the $100 deposit that the guest has paid. At this point, we're going to click Post Payment. Now remember, in this example, we're simply using cash because it'll be the easiest to adjust after this test example is done. Typically, you'd be selecting which credit card we had on file. So click the payment type. I believe I said $100 earlier. It is a $75 deposit. And under the reference, nothing should be added here except for the word deposit. Again, this is for clarity for the GSA looking at this group to facilitate further charges. Click OK. You will note now that the deposit has posted to this group folio and has taken the guest balance down to $219.25. When a GSA looks at this later, they can see that the meeting space room was charged and a deposit was taken, but they now know that they have a balance of $219.25 that they need to collect. To post further payments on this group folio, whether it be at the beginning, ahead of time, or the day of the meeting space, you'll simply go to Post Payment and repeat the steps that we just took to post the deposit. In this example, we'll go ahead and post payment for the $219.25 in cash. For the reference, we will simply input balance paid. At this point, you would click OK. In this tutorial, I will be hitting cancel so that we can continue this process from a GSA standpoint for further training. At this point in time, you can return to the group info screen, add any more detail that you might need here. It will be important to have a guest email so that we can email the guest their folio, receipt, and any outstanding balance. It's also good information to have a phone number available. If a GSA needs to contact the guest the day of event for any special reason, it's important to have a type of phone number that the guest will be accessible by. Save any group info now. This group is now set up and ready to have any additional payments posted to the group folio. For the next step, we're going to add this event space into the calendar associated with stay at ivycourt.com. This is important so that the GSAs have an overlook of the week or weekend and will be able to keep in constant contact with them. So, our event was on June 3rd. Logged in at stay at ivycourt.com into the calendar, I'm going to navigate to June. June 3rd is a Friday. I'm simply going to click that date and we're going to add some information here. Dining room. Spears. We're simply going to have the event space name hyphenated with the guest last name. We're going to go ahead and add the times associated with this. so that it populates correctly on the calendar and viewable for the GSA. Note here, the calendar associated with this is Ivy Court reservations. We want to change that. Go ahead and click the Ivy Court reservations, and we're going to select event space rentals. This is so that anybody who is using the event space rental calendar will have access to it. You can add a description here. We can say, oops, pardon me, Britney Spears baby shower. You can create meeting notes, or we're going to add an attachment. In this case, we want to add the sales contract directly to the attachment. That way, the GSA can get any information that they need from the contract to help facilitate a great group. So we're going to go ahead and add the contract. We're going to find our recent, we'll populate here. And we're going to go ahead and select the event contract associated with this group. We're going to go ahead and insert that. Now the GSA not only will see this populate on the Stay at Ivy Court calendar, which should be up at the front desk at all times, they'll know the time span, they'll have a note here, and they'll have the event space contract right there where they can access it. And we're going to go ahead and save. And you'll see here that now this event is on the calendar, and this information is readily available to our GSA. That completes the tutorial on how to enter an event space rental into Jonas Chorum, and then add that event space into our event space calendar.